Hi, I'm Pete Smith, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Scintam Engineering Podcast. Today I'm joined by Tomáš Zeman, aircraft engineer and MRO influencer. Hi, Thomas.
Thank you for letting me join you guys.
It's good to
Appreciate it.
have you here. So in this episode, we're going to cover Tomáš's career journey to date and how he's built his online audience, some of the challenges that MRO technicians face, and future MRO trends and innovations. So a lot to cover today.
Definitely.
So the first bit we're going to talk about is maybe your career in MRO, and that will give you a chance to introduce yourself a bit more. So it would be great if you could provide a bit of background of what who you are and your career to date.
Okay, so as you said, my name is Tomáš Zeman. I'm from Slovakia. I'm working in aviation since I finished high school, which was in 2000, 9. So a long time ago. I started in the base maintenance. Maybe good to mention that my school was basically it's called Secondary Vocabulary School for Aircraft Engineers, and the field of study was airframe and power plant, which means that from the school I was more or less prepared to jump on this career. Thankfully, school has 147 as approval, so they prepare us regarding modules. So I had all modules for B1, and the regulation in the past was quite easier. So I fill up my logbook, which was not that big. I get a letter from the company and bring it all to Civil Aviation Authority, and I get my B1 license. I was 21, 22 years old, quite early. It's not that easy at the moment, as I realized from the younger guys who are trying to achieve this. And yeah, from that point, I get my first type course, which was ATR. Work on it. Then the company went bankruptcy, and year after I start with A320, and since then, yeah, I'm working on A320, and I change MROs quite regularly since I joined the path of the contractor, which means I don't know if I should explain how the contracting works, or.
So I'm interested to hear about what you have to do to pass this B1 qualification.
Oh, okay. To get a B1 qualification, basically, in my days, it was you fill the logbook, which what basically means that you had a list of the tasks which will prepare you for your journey as a B1, which means each ATA has several subchapters, and from that field you need to go through these subchapters. If the assessor or your at this moment it is called mentor is satisfied with your performance, he will sign this task for you, and you move to the next one until you feel mandatory amount of these tasks. Then if you have all modules for B1, I think it's 15. It's quite a long time since I did this, so
Okay.
I think it's 15 modules which you need to pass, like aerodynamic math, all this
and
kind
how
of.
do you think that's changed compared to what people have to do now? Is there a lot more modules, or do they have to repeat it much more?
Modules are the same.
Okay.
Maybe the requirements for the courses and how the assessment or the test itself is performed, maybe that's changed.
Yeah.
That quite regularly you can have Civil Aviation Authority during the test, during exam with you, or some countries wants to have this modules under Civil Aviation Authority. So you need to really go to Civil Aviation Authority and pass the modules there.
Yeah.
So they really know that you passed it correctly and you didn't cheat it.
There's no killing the system, which is a good thing, of course.
Well, I prefer that for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned before that it's quite difficult to get this accreditation, and we're seeing in the industry that there's a lack of aircraft technicians and engineers. Do you think that's partly as a result of how difficult it is to get these kind of qualifications?
The thing is that for the company, the person who doesn't have authorization, enough is KT. Yeah, a KT is perfect. But if you are non-certifying mechanic or maintenance support, you, in the eyes of the company, have no value. Your hours are empty hours without guidance of B1 or KT. And even though when you work as a non-certified engineer, somebody should still stand in behind you and look over your shoulder what you're doing.
Sure.
Which is very time consuming and it costs a lot of money, because me as a B1 engineer, if I have a trainee and I give him the work itself takes sometimes even twice that long, because you need to show him, okay, this is the manual, this is how we get to the manual, this is all the tools which we need for this, where are we going, okay, so we are on this place on the airplane, what safety precautions we need to fulfill if we work on a hydraulic, if we work on electric system, if we work with a fuel, all this you need to be sure that the person who work with you is aware of. And of course, by the time, it will be easier and easier because you're sure that the person already knows basics. But as I said, you need to go through all these things, and you as an engineer, you know those precautions, you go through them, you read them. Yes, I fulfill this, I pull the CBs, I have barriers, I have a spark-proof tools if I go to fuel tank. All this is more or less imprinted in your head, and it's much easier for you compared to apprentice or non-certified mechanic.
Yeah.
And
so
that's what.
How do you think technology can help to improve that process? Maybe make things easier. You could have if you're using paper documents, you mentioned before that maybe companies want to go paperless, but some people are against this. Also, then you've got tooling and things, digital tooling and stuff like that, and help improve traceability and things like that.
The beginning on the beginning, the technology can't really help, because you need to, as I said, imprint those basics in your brain. You can read a lot. You can pass through a lot of CBTs. You can sit in front of the computer and you can try to get this informations, the basic ones. But hands-on performance, you cannot get thanks to tools. That's why, or some sort of software. That's why us as engineers, in the next few years, maybe decades, we can't be replaced by AI. This is impossible.
You've got to be hands-on. You've got to be physically there to fix something, and to learn that process, you really need to keep doing it, don't you?
So the beginning, as you ask, there is not really way how you can bypass or make these things faster. Somebody is more skillful. Somebody doesn't have the skills straightforward. So it's from the person to person how long this process will take to get this under the skin. And that's why, to return to the question on beginning, that why it is so hard, because not every company has facility, manpower, and money to train the people. So
it's something we see as a problem repeatedly, and certainly in the tools that we make, we're trying to take any sort of skill out of it as much as possible to make it easier for people to learn how to use it. But I don't know, obviously not every tool is the same. Ours is highly advanced, but if you're just having to drill something by hand or using hand tools and things, you really need to know how to do it properly.
Yeah, because if you look at simple, you making the tool which is doing work very easy, but even the trainee need to know how to use a drill machine, and drill machine can be really dangerous in the hand of unskilled person. To misdrill a bolt on the flap or something like that can end up very costly. So
Yeah, of course.
the training with the simplest tool can be vital to saving thousands. Let's say
Yeah.
this way.
So do you think that's one of the main challenges that MRO technicians face, in that they're worried about getting something wrong, and they know that if they get it wrong, it's going to be really expensive, and then that puts a lot of pressure on them to make sure that they're not getting things wrong, and they might not have done it that many times before, especially with regulations getting tighter, and they don't want to get fired for having misdrilled something or something similar.
Most of the companies implement no blame policy. So, of course, if you do something intentionally, I don't really see the reason to keep you. But if it is mistake or sort of fatigue or any kind of human factor, I don't see it as a instant fire.
Yeah.
Right? There is a human factor policy I guess in every company implemented, that you should not be scared to perform your job just to do something wrong, because we're just humans. Yes, we prevent it with the gates, the Swiss cheese is implemented, but always something can go wrong. If it goes wrong, it can go. If it can goes wrong, it will go wrong. But we try to prevent it. But I don't really see this as the reason why you should be afraid. If you
That's really nice to
make
hear.
mistakes, if you learn from that mistake, it should not be punished. If you do the same mistake twice, 3 times, yes,
many
it
times.
might be reason for thinking if this person is fit for this position.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those things are good to hear, and it's sometimes not what you hear from sort of the international media, like coming out of some of these controversies we've heard, particularly in the last few years, which is why they then keep making the regulations tighter to avoid these problems happening in the first place. Is it maybe more the increased standards which are putting pressure on technicians?
Not even on technicians. The regulations regarding mentors and assessors are getting more tight, because recently, if you want to get license, you need to pass through a company authorization process as well, and this company authorization now can take up to full shift, which is 8 hours. You need to show hands-on skills. You need to show knowledge of company exposition, maintenance exposition, and anytime during this process when quality of the company is in place, your assessor is in place, and maybe somebody from HR can be in place. Anytime during this process, you can have appearance of CAA, Civil Aviation Authority, which would and they can start asking the questions assessor. So not only trainee is under the pressure, also the assessors are in these days under the pressure, and many people are afraid to get assessor approval, because you can be during process that you are checking if somebody is fit for the position. You as a mentor can be checked, and yes, it is another gate. How to prevent misleading of the candidates, but as I said, putting a lot of pressure on the people who wants to get you on the track.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that there's a no blame culture, and all of that sounds really good, but then people are worried about them being assessed because that's when maybe there's a high level of scrutiny, whereas their work is good. Everyone knows that their work is good because it's checked. But then there's such a high level of scrutiny on assessors that then it's maybe one of the challenges which is stopping more technicians coming into the industry.
And apparently the trend in between the young people is that they're not really interested in the technical fields, even though the parents don't have that many options. If you live in the city, you for sure don't have a garage where you can drill the stuff with your dad, or craft the cart for street races with your friends. These things are quite hard to achieve in the cities. And if you don't have this leadership or guidance by your parents or friends, it's quite hard to get to this stream later on, because you don't know how to, I don't know, I go that far to say somebody don't know which way you tightening the bolts and which way you unscrewing the bolt.
Wow.
Which is normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we've had a bit of a discussion about difficulties with technicians and how they're hard to find, but then also interested to hear about the kind of tools that you use, and particularly your approach to tooling. You said part of the training is finding the right tools and getting them all ready beforehand, but we're interested to hear about how do you make sure that there's no foreign object debris or FOD in the engines and things like that. Maybe the differences in tooling and how people approach tools in different MROs.
Yeah, for example, now in the MRO which I'm in, each technician has its own toolbox, which consists of basic tool, ratchet set, wrench set, screwdrivers, set of pliers, all kind of pliers, from cutters to pliers with the soft jaws with which you can remove the connectors. All this, especially in Europe, need to be marked. Every tool need to have dedicated number or wording which says it is part of this tool, which is consists in this list, and this list belongs to this MRO or this person.
Yeah.
Based on that. So this toolbox, especially mine, personal one, needs to be checked before and after work. And each tool had dedicated place in the foam. There's cutted place for it, and the foam is black.
We call it Kaizen foam in the UK. I don't know about there. You heard that term?
I never hear this. No,
Kaizen
I never hear this term.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Nice shadow board foam with the red or blue. I think they're most common are the little gaps, so you can see what's missing.
Yes. So we have yellow. We have it yellow, so it's really obvious that something is missing. So this is one gate, basically your own tool, and you are the keeper of these tools.
Yeah.
Then we have calibrated and special tools, which are handed over to you from this tool store, and specially calibrated tools nowadays need to be logged in on the work, which means on the work order. They need to be stated in the work order that you use this calibrated tool, which helps tracking of the calibrated tools, and it is assigned to your ID card. Yeah. So in the end of the shift, there will be notification in the tool store that this tool is missing, and it was on this name. Why it's not here? And then either you will get email, or somebody that most of the time team leader will contact you. Hey, are you still working? Or you just forgot to return this tool. It's like, yeah, it's on my toolbox. I'm packing now. I'm finishing the stuff. I'm closing the paperwork, and then I'll return everything. Okay, everything is fine. Just return it back, so we have a clean slate.
Wow, so it's pretty instant feedback, which sounds quite good.
If you set your system well, you again have another layer in Swiss cheese. So you just need to have a good gates, and you can prevent problems. Of course, still it's Swiss cheese, so something can slip. But more and more gates you add, it's harder to pass through without knowing.
Yeah.
So I guess this is the answer.
I wondered. I think you mentioned before that each technician has their own set of tools, other than the calibrated tools, which are maybe to the side a bit. But do the technicians own those tools themselves, or does the MRO own them? Because it strikes me, if you're having to buy your own, that's another barrier to entry.
Depends of the company. Some low-cost operators in Europe requires you to have your own tools. They will provide some basic tools, but it's not the best. So you are more or less forced to buy your own tool, which if you build it from the scratch can be from 2.5 to 6.5 grand easily. Mine was 3.5, for example. But there are some MROs which provides you with the tools, and either it is if you are on the small base with I don't know 2-3 persons, you might end up with one tool which belongs to station, which is full, of course, full set, and you will share it with your colleague, and after shift you will just check it, and when you go home, when your rotation finish, you'll just hand over the toolbox to next person who will exchange you. Or if you work in the hub like I do now, you have your personal dedicated tool, and it belongs to you, but it's not owned by you. It's owned by company, but it has your number on it, or you get assigned this number to your person, and it's easy to track this tool. But it's again from the company to company how they approach this, because this can be very costly.
Yeah, I mean, tools are expensive. I think it's something everyone's aware of, but if technicians are having to buy them themselves, you can see how that's, you're having to literally invest money in your career, which is often quite difficult if you're just starting out, especially. So,
well,
have you... Go on.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, the license itself is very expensive, because modules, if you don't get it like I did it from the school, you need to pay for them. Each module, just the module itself, the examination, can cost from 10 euro up to 100 euro, depends of CAA. If you want to buy if you want to attend the class, which again is not that common, and I'm very, very happy that my company actually provides class trainings for the modules. This can be costly. Again, then you need to go, when you get your empty B1 license, it's one thing, but then you need to get a type course, which can be provided by company, or you pay for it. So and again, the price of the type course is one thing, but you will be out of the production for 2 months. So if you are employed, yes, most probably company will pay you your wage. But if you are a contractor, it means that you need to add to price of the course your missing time on the duty, because as a contractor you're not paid when you're not working. So from the course, which can cost 2.5, the cheapest ones, you need to add 2 months wage, accommodation, food, all this stuff.
Wow.
And in the end, it's a huge number.
Piling up
and
these costs.
Yes, and if it is first entry, you need to pass something what is called OGT, or on-job training. Actually, this I should explain before we get to the tooling, but whatever. OGT training is again list of the tasks which you pass in. Most of them you pass in logbook 7, but logbook 7 is not dedicated to the airplane. You can fill logbook 7 on variety of the airplanes, even on the helicopters, even on the piston airplanes. But on-job training is job directly on the type which you attend. And this on-job training can be provided by company, again, during your work process. If this happens, you're the luckiest person in the world. If this doesn't happen, you need to again pay for OGT, which can be from 4 weeks all the way to 3 months. And I heard crazy prices. The lowest price which I heard was around $4,000 for on-job training. And lately I heard crazy price of 20,000 euros for
Wow.
OGT for 2 months training. And imagine that this is just OGT, it's not accommodation.
Yeah.
So you see how it's piling up.
Crikey. And do you think that's because the MROs know that this is something people want to do, and there's only so many companies with those licenses they need to conduct that kind of training?
Again, you need to look at it the way that you need to take person. If you decide as a company that you will go for OGT trainings, you need to have dedicated people for that, which are out of production, which not produce profit for you, which need to be included in the price of OGT. And then you need to have sort of tracking of training work orders. And again, not every customer, if you, for example, work on the customer airplane, if you're third party, is not happy with letting people be trained on their airplane. So again, you need to find the slot with the airplane, and most probably you will not gonna be able to be put all those hours of the trainees on the work orders for the customer. So these hours need to be paid, and that's why the cost can be so high.
Yeah, crikey. Yeah, it seems very short-sighted of the airlines expecting, don't do any on-the-job training on our plane, but then that means the costs are going to go up because the costs to do the training are going to go up. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is most of the time what people don't really see, how costly it is, because everybody says, oh, pilot training is expensive. Yes, it is expensive. It is from 50 to 100,000 euros, and it's 4 years. Then, of course, type course. But they can put a price tag on this. But you don't really see the price tag on the aircraft maintenance license. And in the end, if you put all this together, you will end up with a basic license somewhere around 20 to 30,000 type course, and you are easily on 30, 40, 50, depends.
Yeah.
And you still didn't touch the airplane as a certified engineer.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk a bit more about the future trends and innovations in the MRO. And of course, part of that may be working instructions and things like that. You mentioned that they might be going paperless and things like that. But you're making a lot of these tutorials on YouTube. And obviously that doesn't maybe fit in that well with the traditional paper instructions. So I wondered, what's the demand for that? What do you see from your audience about people who are interested in these videos?
We are getting in the world when basically visual content makes audience attracted, and sometimes what I find out when I start that you understand the airplane, you maybe understand the function of the components, but when you get AMM, you cannot really visualize how it is, because you get a component. Okay, it's quite simple to remove it, but then you get to the airplane and there is multiple layers of the pipes and wires which you need to remove first of all.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's not 20-minute job, but I was thinking and I was reading, right? And that's basically the latest point of my videos. I don't really want to call it tutorials. More,
Sure.
I want to call it as a visualization of the job, because then it might be easier for people to understand how to get to the task, as we discussed, proper tooling helps you to get access, because every time when I'm doing the video, it's from the point A to Z in accordance manual, and I'm using all the required tools which are mandatory for the task. And that's what I'm trying to show people, that if you use the proper tooling, even though it might be expensive as hell, but it might make your life easier, and scrutiny will be not 2 hours to fight with a component, but it will be 30-minute job. And that's it. So and also you mentioned to getting away from the paper. In the past, you get either book with the manuals, which was necessary to be updated every 3 months, or you get PDFs, and you supposed to scroll through endless. If you don't know other chapters by heart, you was scrolling through the PDFs endless, still find what you're looking for, and that was really time consuming. And especially in the past, most of the people rely on experience. Okay, I changed it once, most probably nothing changed, so let's do it the way as I remember. And this leads also to the failures and misunderstanding, because you read it maybe once, you read it wrong, and then from that point you doing it that way. And what I don't like when people says, do it this way because I'm doing like this since we get this airplane.
In reality,
sorry,
that
but that's
might
right.
not be actually how the manual says to do it, in which case you've got a problem.
Yes. And that's why the manufacturers start to doing this interactive manuals, which are online. And basically to start, for example, on Airbus nowadays, with the search bar, the Google search bar, basically, it was never easier to find the manual for the component. If you know in Airbus way the FIN number, you just enter the FIN number, you write install or remove, and basically Airbus World will give you instant information what you need to do. So if somebody says that, for me now it's hard to get to manuals, and MRO is paying for all the online accesses, which are expensive, of course, there is no excuse. It's not excuse, especially when in these days, like in our company, we get personal tablets. Each technicians get a tablet with access to the fleet. For example, I'm on Airbus. I have access to Airbus World. Next day, I'm on the Boeing. For sure, I'll get access to Boeing Toolbox, and all this I have on my tablet. So if I'll tell somebody that, you know what, no, I'm not gonna do this, or I'll do it my way because I have no access to the manual, sorry for the word, but this is bullshit. You're lazy.
So in some ways, it's getting easier to do MRO, but in some respects, obviously, as we discussed earlier, it's harder. I can imagine looking at a paper copy with like a exploded drawing and trying to work out. Sometimes these drawings are not that good, are they? Which piece to take out and things like that is quite tricky. But if you've got a nice 3D thing you can sort of orbit around and have a look at, probably makes it a bit easier.
Yes, that makes life easier. And I forgot what I want to say, but but still, sometimes even I like to have a printed paper, because honestly, the tablet will get locked. It is a sensitive device; it needs to be locked, and you work in the gloves, and not every time you want to pull out the glove, put your thumb in, unlock device, then. Even the Airbus World and all this online online pages requires dual login, which means, and they are logging off regularly because, of course, you're trying to prevent your data. So, long story short, sometimes it's easier if you have a complex job to print out the manual, because the paper stays next to you. And if you want to log in all the time, it's consuming time. So there's still some flaws. We're trying to be more safe, but in the end, it's a little slower down.
That's really interesting, because if someone was to take that paper manual, you know, they'd have that in the same way that they'd have digital manual, except on the digital manual, it's constantly locking you out. maybe there's more data on there or something like that. But it seems like it's making it a bit harder. I have to point out that we test all of our touch screens on our devices with gloves to make sure they still work. They don't always work 100% as well, but I'd say it's like 95%, so you can still go ahead and use them. But I'm interested to hear that you don't use styluses or anything to help stop those kind of problems, because you need to wear gloves.
The thing is, once the screen is unlocked or you are logged in, you have no issue. The tablet works perfectly. The problem is logging in, and unless you have face recognition, you're screwed. Because yes, these devices are made for. These devices are not made for the people who work in our environment. So you need to wear gloves, and most of the time your login is your thumb, almost on everything.
Oh, we see. So
or the fingerprint.
It's the thumbprint or fingerprint, which is the issue.
Yes.
These things are maybe more consumer electronics rather than they're made for industrial setting. Yeah, imagine that's because they're cheaper though a lot of the time. Because you can buy these things which are industrialized.
Of course, one producer of devices provides the face recognition, and quite well. And we are using devices from this manufacturer, but we are using the older generation. Slowly, we are going to newest generations. But imagine that we have 350 people on the maintenance floor, and you need to slowly change these devices, but it can be costly.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, every person has toolbox and tablet, which means to transfer to the new generation will be very, 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 very expensive.
Yeah. So thinking about those trends in the MRO industry, I'm also interested to hear about changes like new engines coming out which are going to be fitted in the planes, and how that can be a challenge or how it can be a good thing for you guys. Whether they're better designed for maintenance or maybe worse, I don't know. So in particular, CFM 56 is being phased out now in favour of LEAP engines, but also that covers the whole of aircraft, not just engines.
Mm-hmm. Of course, new technologies are welcome from some people. Some people hate them, of course, because you're used to something. Lately, I posted a video regarding the cooling of the, let's say, brain of the airplane on Airbus. And you can see the boxes, huge boxes, which are in the avionic rack. It's hard to explain people that those boxes are independent computers because of redundancy, and you have backup after backup, and then they looks like this. Of course, this concept is from the 80s, but if you look on the 787, still, for example, flight controls components are still separate independent boxes sitting in the rack. But some others, like, for example, navigation or this kind of components, are hostile application in the server. So we are going that way, that we implement new stuff. But in the end, that simple device like a PDU, which is a power drive unit in the cargo on 787, which moving those huge containers on older airplane, you just replace the LRU, put it back, put it on. That's it. A new one in the 787, you need to install the software in it, which makes things harder. It's easier to troubleshoot the device thanks to software, but it's losing the word line replaceable unit. Because yes, you can easily replace it, but then you need to engineering degree to install the software.
Yeah. Did you find that people who have been, technicians who have been doing the job a long time, they're used to quite analog things, take this screw out, you put the new one in, that kind of thing, that they struggle with that kind of more digital aspect of the job these days?
Of course, we have B1s who are great for certain job. You put them in a cabin, you throw the pile of the stuff in front of them without label, without anything. They will put it together like Lego in 2 hours, yeah, and I will gonna fight with the manual for 3 days to put it
Yeah.
together. But take him out of his comfort zone, put him on the new engine, and he will be lost. This is based on the memory, right? You learn something, you are great in it, but then you are facing something new and you find your limitations. That's why, for example, me, I'm always constantly putting myself in challenges. I'm asking for the new jobs or harder jobs. Lately, I asked for the boroscope, which might be the biggest mistakes which I did in my life. But yeah, the boroscope training was interesting, and the inspections are pretty hard. Not with again, and we are getting to new equipment, which we're talking about before. The new boroscope machines are amazing. That you make 3D measurements based on the pictures, and you can rely on it. And what before takes hours, now with the 3D measurements can take 15 minutes to evaluate something, maybe even less. So now we get into it. The technology in such a highly specified jobs makes our life so easy. Same as future. That's the company. Doesn't matter. The automatic drive for the gearbox. Normally, I need second person who is rotating gearbox for me, and it's not really precise. The person can't really adjust their hands to the RPM which you need, because deeper in the engine you go, you have more blades on the more dense place.
Yeah.
So on the first stage you can have 37
to the next
blades.
one, and they turn it a quarter turn for blades at the front, but a quarter turn for the blades at the back is going to be like 10 blades.
Yes. And with this new tools, which again take time to install it. So if you do one stage, of course you take somebody. But if you install this device, which you have, which you can go to exact blade, and you can set RPM, this makes my life so easy to perform the boroscope. I cannot imagine how they did this 20 years ago, when the equipment was not that precise, and you cannot measure it that easy.
Yeah.
So again,
traceability, sort of, we were talking about boroscopes measuring things is really important. You say, but then also ease of use, and that's nice to hear, because in our machines that's something which we always try to aim for. Maybe more than anything else is, it's got to be traceable, it's got to be easy to use, and then that makes the MRO operation quicker, and people like to use it, which then means that it's cheaper for the MRO and things like that. So then, the payback time is then really quick.
This is what companies need to understand, and that's why when we want to present, or when we're going to get some new tool, we need to present it, we need to sell it to the company, why it is good and why it brings profit in the future, and what horizon we can expect that this tool will pay its value back. Because we technicians on the ground floor knows how hard can something be, and how new equipment can make our job easier and faster to be done. So, but again, you need to present it to the people in the management, and they're listening always only numbers. So you need to transfer your scrutiny in the value of the money.
So I think often the way we approach it is there's two parts to this, and there's one, like, you're reducing scrap, and if you can reduce scrap, then the tool pays it off itself incredibly quickly, because if you scrap one less, well, what's a tool compared to an aircraft component? Is like no value. Of course, the second point is always, it makes things quicker, it makes things easier, your B1s, your certified technicians, they don't need to be spending so long on things, so you can then move them to another job much more quickly. And then, of course, the aeroplane's flying again quicker, which is really valuable to the airlines.
Exactly. Yeah, if you can do something very quick, it makes a difference. And another thing is that, again, back to tooling, for every special component, you need to have a sort of special training. And again, not everybody wants to train the people. Not every time you have a chance to train the people. So again, you pushing in front of you pile of stuff. You might have a perfect equipment. My cat arrived. You might have a perfect equipment, but you are not allowed to use it because nobody trained you for that. And yes, sorry. Sorry. So this is another thing which, yes, you have another gate, you have a training, so nobody will screw up for the tool, but not every time you had somebody on the spot who can train you. And in Shelf, you can have perfectly amazing tool which will save you hours, but nobody from your group was trained on it. So it will remain in the shelf, and you will do it old style, the way you did it before, and you will suffer, you will swear, you will curse, and you will get it out. So this might be another issue which we face in MROs, that lack of training in advance, because same as aircrafts, we get a lot airplane, the CEOs, A320s, and we have only few NEOs, which might be easy to handle, right? You need to have few persons to cover these NEOs. But then summer season comes, that guy has a vacation, that guy is sick, that guy get injured, or in the worst case, and suddenly you have nobody who can work on a NEO, and it's a problem. So again, if you predict this and you train more people, which will cost you in the beginning, you now solve the problem which bites you in your tail half of the year or year after. So those predictions are also hard to do.
Yeah.
And
again,
you
can use software and things like that, like ERP software and stuff like that to predict, what we're going to need down the line, who needs to be trained, but they might not be available to do the training. So then that makes it even more difficult.
Yes.
And I think that's a challenge in every industry where the bottom line is always cost, but if you want to do your, in this case, your maintenance operation, you need to kind of accept that, okay, the software's probably correct, but then I actually need to get the guy to be there, which is sometimes a bit of a difficulty.
To understand it,
yeah.
Because not everybody's are available all the time. Not everybody are available for the trainings. For example, just again, me, I'm trying to become trainer, and the process to become trainer is quite, again, complex. You need to pass 5 days training with an instructor who prepare you how to approach the people, how to talk to the people, how to not situation escalate the way you don't want to. Then you need to have on-job training. You need to train somebody under supervision of another trainer, which is horrible during production, to find somebody who will supervise you supervising somebody else.
Of course, then you've got an extra layer.
You have 3 people out of production to perform, or you need 3 person instead of 1 to perform the task, which is costly. Again, and you need to inform everybody in advance for this. They need to plan the job the way, which never work, never ever work, the planning, because you have unplanned situations, ARGs and stuff like that. So airplane need to fly, you need to forget about sort of plan. You need to reroute everything and let things work. So it's horrible. Then you need to have assessment again, and somewhere in the end you can become trainer for some stuff.
So, sounds like a many-year process, that does.
Yes. easy.
Yeah. So
Yep.
we're just coming towards the end, I think, now. So there's, of course, a few things which we have to talk about, which is, of course, you've had a look at Scintam's FastEDR machine over video, and we're keen to get one in your hands at some point. But you mentioned earlier about how maybe the younger technicians, they're not hands-on with that many tools and stuff. Our machine is aimed to help make that easier. But from what you've seen, how do you think the tool might help you in removing seized fasters and things like that?
I would say I'm quite good with drilling. I never really destroyed a part if you choose a proper drill. But I get stuck several times to drill or easy out inside of the bolt, and then scrutiny starts. And for example, if you stuck the easy out inside, which is harder than bolt, your tool might be exactly the thing, because yes, you need to bring it from the tool store, you need to book it, you need to plug it. Drill machine is easy. If you have one bolt to drill out, the drill machine is, if you know what you're doing, it's a quick job. But once you're getting in the panel when the half of the fasteners are seized, then your machine makes sense, because out of drilling it, yes, you bring the drill, it's 5 minutes, but with your tool, bring it on the position, and with a proper training and with all the alignments, you can be done in halfway through. And as we discussed, the younger people are not that skillful, so or not skillful. I cannot throw everybody in the same bag. It will be very wrong to say this. But the process with your tool can end up sorry, I just jumped in a rabbit hole. With your tool, I can be faster if I have more things to drill out, or hard to access the things which are harder to access. From that point, I see your tool as a very vital in operation, because as you told me, the process is maybe 2 minutes. With alignment, drilling can take 5 to 10 minutes. One bolt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think crucially as well, like you were saying, you never know if they're going to get stuck. And if they do, if your easy out gets stuck in the hole, well, then it's going to take you way longer. Whereas if you have this machine, you've got that certainty that it's always going to take the same amount of time, because it's going to work the same every time. Whereas, if you're using some of these traditional methods, this can get stuck, that could get caught, things like that, then that can be a problem. So the other thing I'd like to talk about just before we wrap up is a bit more about sort of your YouTube career and some of the videos that you've posted recently. They're so interesting to watch, and I bet there's a lot of aviation geeks like me who are also watching them. But how have you found that YouTube as a very niche sort of expertise that you have?
I'm meeting with many approaches to my YouTube channel, or even social media, because the companies are overprotective. Not really overprotective, but protective, because one wrong word, one wrong video can destroy the name of the company. And with every video, I need to keep this in mind, that if because I have sort of impact on the social media. With one video, I can destroy everything. So I need to be aware always of this. I need to follow certain rules, especially in our company. I got permission from the company. Big Brother is always watching. The people checking my videos quite regularly, which I'm happy for, because every feedback makes the process better. This because I'm getting questions from many guys all around it. How is it possible that I'm allowed to do this? Because I'm showing things which are not publicly available. Well, I never show something what will affect safety of the flight. what will affect safety of the crew. I will never show you how to get in the cockpit. I will never show you how to I don't know, open things which are accessible by passengers and can affect the safety. Most of my videos are somewhere outside, changing parts, and during the process I'm explaining the function of that part, which will the way the knowledge of the function of that part will not harm the safety of the flight. So
Sure.
if the passenger know how the generator works, there is no way how, if he have even bad intention, can affect that component to way that it will affect safety of the flight.
Yeah.
Maybe I repeat myself several times, but sorry.
It's always good in aerospace to hear that there's a cautious approach being taken. I think people like to have that peace of mind. And I think in reality, you're only making it easier for engineers and technicians to do their job better. So I think that's a very positive aspect to, your videos and all the things that you do in the public space. So,
and what actually makes me happy, what I'm doing, what is the main purpose? I'm getting messages from all around the world that people are seeing my videos on the type courses, for example. That teachers are seeing my videos good enough that it will fit in their scripts, and they can train future technicians based on my videos, and this makes me happy. What I hate though, when I get also this footage that companies liberally download my videos and they use them as an internal procedure for the technicians, and you can clearly see a logo of the company. You can clearly see, because when I'm doing contracting style videos, you see Zeto. When I'm doing company related videos, you always see the flag, and you always, because I'm proud of my company, and you always see the name at least once or several times in the video. You see the name of the company, and on the shirt I have a flag of the company, and this is sort of trademark. Okay, if you use it on the YouTube, if you because this is public space, if you use it from there, company approves it. I'm approving it because I'm uploading it. So if you see it there, and if you show it people from the public space, I'm happy because it's available for everybody. But once you download it, you're stealing.
Yeah.
That's my perspective.
Stealing from your company, things like that as well.
Yes, me and my company.
So it's brilliant to discuss all of these topics with you, and particularly, we've talked about how you're helping to get more technicians into the industry, and especially, becoming a trainer. And I think, you're already doing a little bit of training. It's a demonstration more than a tutorial, as you said, on how to help repair these aircraft and things like that. We also talked about how these new tools are so important and are so useful, which was really interesting to hear about, as well as all the regulations that on becoming an aircraft maintenance technician, which I also found really interesting, and I hope that our listeners will too. So if people want to keep in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I'm on basically almost every social media, from LinkedIn, but mainly I'm on the YouTube. That's my major focus, because on YouTube you can explain things more in the detail. I'm also on the TikTok and Instagram, but this is a very dynamic environment, and you need to compress a lot of information in a very short period of time, and you need to catch attention immediately. Otherwise, you will lose the people. So yes, I'm on every platform, but if you want to learn as much as you can, the YouTube is the best way. Yeah.
What's the name of your channel? Sorry. What's the name of your channel?
Zeto.r. it's basically my name, Zeman Tomáš, and R was add in the past. It's a funny story because Zetor is a brand of the tractor, and I was always the towing horse, so they start to call me like this, Zetor. So it remains from that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for your time today, Thomas, and I hope to speak to you again soon.
Love to hear you again, guys. I appreciate that you find the time to speak with me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.